I gotta stop that getting emotional shit. Cause I really let some other sad shit hurt me.
But him throwing salt to Future kind of threw me off because it seems like him and Future were cool. We all know Pluto don't really be in the mix or nothing. Anytime we see Future on the news or in the media.
A few hours after NBA YoungBoy apologized to Future on IG Live with Offset, everything changed. He turned around and dropped his diss track, What DA What, taking direct aim at Future and Atlanta's rap scene. But he didn't stop there. He pushed things even further, and now people are wondering if that move could put a target on his back. In less than 24 hours, it went from an apology to all-out conflict.
It's always about a woman. It's always about him doing some toxic, doing somebody's BM or a woman.
To understand how this all happened, you have to go through July 10th, 2026, hour by hour, because everything unfolded in less than a day. It didn't begin with a diss track, it began with damage control. In the days before, YoungBoy had returned to Instagram and went on a rant that called out several people, including Blueface's mother, Carlissa Saffold. In the middle of it, fans believed one line was aimed at Future. So, on July 10th, YoungBoy joined Offset on Instagram Live to clear the air. He admitted he had crashed out, thanked Offset for the advice, and apologized to Future and Carlissa Saffold by name. He talked about music, family, and getting better at controlling his emotions. This wasn't a prepared statement, it was YoungBoy on camera explaining himself. He told Offset the rant wasn't planned. It came from something that hurt him, and he took those emotions to the internet. By his own account, he had been in a good place before all of this. Then came the moment that grabbed everyone's attention, the apology itself, delivered directly to Offset and meant for others too.
He didn't put a name on it, and I feel as though people may be overreacting because one thing about bruh.
Them too. Those were the words that included both Future and Carlissa Saffold, and he didn't stop there. He even described his own behavior, flashed out. By the middle of July 10th, the story showed someone who admitted he lost control, took responsibility, and seemed ready to move forward. It looked like a real moment of growth. Fans who had watched him talk about focus and family believed he meant it. Then everything flipped again, and it happened in hours, not days. That night, Future's album The Real Me was scheduled to release, and YoungBoy posted freestyle clips on his Instagram stories aimed at an unnamed artist dropping music that same evening. The posts included aggressive lines like, "You not better, you won't win tonight," and "I ain't letting you slide," while making it clear he was challenging someone without saying a name. YoungBoy never mentioned Future directly, he didn't need to. One major artist had an album arriving that night, and certain words like old and flop made many fans believe they knew exactly who he was talking about. Then came the next move, and this is where the situation reached another level. YoungBoy released What DA What.
YoungBoy speak on anybody, no glaze and stuff, he gonna say a name to it.
A track many fans connected to the Future conversation, and attached a caption that read, "In honor to the whole Ho Atlanta." Read that caption carefully. It wasn't just aimed at one rapper, it mentioned the entire Atlanta scene. A problem with Future would be between two artists, but bringing up the whole city made fans view it as something much bigger. Atlanta has produced major names like Gucci Mane, Future, Lil Baby, and 21 Savage, artists connected to past moments involving YoungBoy. With one caption, a personal issue appeared to expand into a wider regional statement. So the July 10th timeline looked like this: a heated rant, an apology for that rant, new posts that seemed to reverse the apology, and a song that turned the situation into a much bigger conversation, all within 24 hours. Media coverage followed each move as it happened, and clips from every stage spread online before the next development even arrived.
I listen.
It's all good.
And it got me back going. I gotta let that shit go. I gotta.
That explains why people called it a declaration involving Atlanta and What DA What, but a timeline only shows the events. To understand why it happened, you have to look deeper into the track itself, revisit years of tension involving YoungBoy and Atlanta artists, and examine why Future became the main focus of the conversation. That starts with the lyrics and energy inside What DA What, breaking down what made the track stand out. Take away the outside noise for a moment and focus on the song itself, because it became the center of the entire situation. Full official lyrics have not been widely available yet, but the clips spreading online show the direction YoungBoy was taking and how he delivered his message. Start with the most talked about lines. "I wanna go bezel for bezel. I wanna go hit after hit. I wanna go million for million." On the surface, it's a flex, but underneath, it sounds like a challenge, a direct comparison of achievements, watches against watches, hits against hits, money against money. YoungBoy is putting his entire resume on display and daring another artist to match it. That repeated structure isn't random, it's part of his style. The same hypnotic repetition that helped songs like Outside Today and Make No Sense stick with fans is now being used like a warning shot. Then comes the darker energy. Hatton A, I'm a villain. Old A, I'ma catch you when you're down bad and stretch you. Two things stand out. First, the villain image is something YoungBoy doesn't run from. He's embracing the reputation people already connect with him and turning it into part of his identity. Second, the word old appears again, matching language from his earlier social media posts. That connection stands out. The stories created the setup, the song delivered the message. The future connection continued to grow as more details were discussed. The track reportedly includes references to free bands, a clear connection many fans associate with Future's label and brand, along with comments about an older artist struggling. Free bands isn't just a random phrase, it's tied to Future's career, his team, and his movement. Add the age-related comments and a photo involving Scooter that some observers viewed as a possible message, and many listeners felt the target was becoming obvious. But this is where the situation became bigger than just a Future-related issue. The caption, in honor to the whole Atlanta, changed how people viewed the record. Without that message, it could have been seen as a personal conflict. With it, many interpreted it as a statement about an entire scene. The phrase suggests criticism toward Atlanta's culture and rap identity. It creates a contrast between Baton Rouge's raw style and Atlanta's established trap legacy. YoungBoy wasn't only questioning one artist, he was challenging the image of an entire city, which made the moment much bigger. That is a major statement when you remember what Atlanta represents. This is the city that helped build trap music, producing legends like Gucci Mane, The Migos, Lil Baby, and 21 Savage. Its sound has influenced worldwide music for years. Calling out Atlanta like that wasn't just a regular insult, it was a major statement, and YoungBoy likely understood the weight behind it. That is exactly why the message got so much attention. From a style perspective, the track represents classic YoungBoy energy. His delivery reportedly mixes his melodic sound with intense aggression, creating the type of record that can work as both a diss and a song people replay. The wording is direct and straightforward. There are no complicated layers to decode. YoungBoy has never relied on being overly technical like some lyricists. His approach is built around emotion, pressure, and saying exactly what he feels in the moment. The confrontation itself becomes part of the performance. Another major factor is how quickly the track appeared. YoungBoy is known for recording in sudden bursts, and this song feels connected to the same emotional wave that created the Instagram stories. For many artists, moving that fast could create problems. For YoungBoy, it has become part of his process. His catalog is filled with frequent releases, surprise drops, and a non-stop creative pace despite major life challenges. That speed allows him to capture moments while they are still happening and turn them into music before the conversation moves on. So when you break it down, the formula becomes clear. There are comparisons aimed at a veteran artist's success, a villain-style persona, references that many listeners connected to Future, and a caption that expanded the conversation beyond one person. The message became personal, regional, and extremely direct all at once. But moments like this usually don't appear out of nowhere. The Atlanta reference wasn't created on July 10th alone. It came from years of tension and past situations between YoungBoy and artists connected to the city. To understand why the situation became so heated, you have to look back at the history between YoungBoy and Atlanta. The story behind What Da What feels like another chapter in a much longer rivalry. YoungBoy and Atlanta's rap scene have crossed paths for years, and the history goes back long before 2026. One of the biggest examples is 2022's I Hate YoungBoy, a major diss track that called out several artists, including Atlanta figures like Lil Baby, 21 Savage, and Gucci Mane. That track became a major moment, with a Baton Rouge artist stepping into one of hip-hop's strongest regional scenes and calling out names like a full list. It became one of the biggest moments in his catalog because of how bold the move was, and more importantly, it created the blueprint that What Da What now seems to follow. Don't just focus on one person, challenge the entire environment around them. But the relationship between YoungBoy and Atlanta was never only about conflict, and that is what makes the situation even more intense. YoungBoy worked with Atlanta artists earlier in his career. There was a level of respect in Southern rap, including collaborations with Future before things shifted into tension, distance, and unanswered questions. Respect that turns into frustration can become more complicated than a rivalry that started with hate. Former connections often carry more history and emotion. Then came 2025, and one of the most talked about moments involving YoungBoy and Atlanta. During his Massa Tour stop in Atlanta, YoungBoy received what appeared to be an onstage recognition from the city, which many people viewed as a major honor. But instead of keeping the moment calm, he performed I Hate YoungBoy, the same track that had criticized some of Atlanta's biggest names, while reportedly bringing controversial guests onto the stage. Picture the scene: a city showing appreciation, and the artist responding with a performance connected to the very song that caused tension. That was the energy surrounding the night. The reaction came quickly and from multiple angles. Atlanta officials later clarified that the recognition was not an official key to the city, creating a public correction that looked like an attempt to separate the city from the moment. The situation also had bigger effects, with backlash reportedly leading to the cancellation of his second Atlanta performance on the tour. Look at what that moment represented. A sign of acceptance turned into another chapter of conflict. The city tried to distance itself from the situation, and the relationship became even more complicated. That 2025 event became a major piece of the story behind Whole Atlanta. When YoungBoy posted that caption, many fans saw it as more than a random insult. It connected back to a conflict that had been building for years. The message felt like a response. You didn't accept me, so I don't need your approval. Underneath all those moments is a deeper issue, a clash between two different identities and approaches within Southern rap. Atlanta represents commercial power, trap history, and a polished music machine that has become the center of Southern rap culture. YoungBoy represents a different route, built around independence, raw emotion, and a less polished style coming straight from Louisiana. He built his audience through constant releases and a direct connection with fans. There are also deeper layers of tension, including rumors, industry opinions, and comments from people around the artists. Those things rarely become official statements, but they can still influence how people view these situations. Moving into 2026, YoungBoy has been on a major run. Projects like More Leaks 2 kept his momentum alive, while his mix of melody and intensity continued attracting millions of younger listeners. His music often touches on personal struggles, difficult experiences, and life lessons, making him one of the most talked about artists in his generation. When an artist reaches that level of attention, the biggest challenges start looking like the biggest opportunities. Atlanta, with its trap legacy and massive influence, represents one of the biggest stages in Southern hip-hop. The pattern starts becoming clear. In 2022, YoungBoy called out Atlanta artists by name. In 2025, he performed a controversial track on Atlanta's own stage and faced major backlash. Then, in 2026, he connected a new record to the entire city. 3 moments, one continuing storyline. The tension never fully disappeared because both sides carried the history forward. But that leads to the biggest question. Atlanta has many possible names, including Lil Baby, 21 Savage, and Gucci Mane, all artists who have been mentioned in past YoungBoy conflicts. So why did the attention shift toward Future? That is where the situation became even more surprising. Why Future? Why now? Out of all the Atlanta artists, Future was the one many people did not expect because of his reputation for avoiding traditional rap conflicts. That surprise is exactly why the internet reacted so strongly. Future has built a public image where he usually stays away from direct back and forths with other rappers. Even people following the situation question whether YoungBoy was really targeting him. The confusion came from their history as collaborators, not rivals. It wasn't just about their connection, it was about Future's image. His public storylines have usually focused on relationships and personal topics, not rap battles. That is why some observers were careful before claiming Future was the target, because when YoungBoy truly has an issue with someone, he has usually shown it clearly, and that belief came from looking at YoungBoy's own history of directly addressing names when he wants a message understood. That was the reason many people gave Future the benefit of the doubt, but what changed the conversation. The free bands references, the old comments, and the talk about someone failing around an album release removed much of the mystery. YoungBoy may not have said a name directly, but many listeners felt the clues created a clear direction. So why Future? Look at the timing, because the calendar matters. Future was promoting his new album, The Real Me, and YoungBoy's posts about someone needing to not flop tonight appeared on the same night the project arrived. Many fans saw that timing as intentional. It follows a strategy artists have used for years, dropping attention, grabbing moments during another artist's rollout to shift the conversation. In today's streaming-focused industry, controversy can create massive attention, and YoungBoy has shown he understands how quickly online conversations move. A major moment can change the entire discussion around a release. Then there is the generational angle. Future is in his 40s, representing a bridge between Atlanta's earlier trap era and today's biggest stars. He has a huge catalog, helped shape the sound of modern rap, and built a strong career beyond music. YoungBoy is in his 20s, with a massive streaming audience and a desire to be seen as one of his generation's defining artists. The repeated shots about age aren't just personal, they create a bigger message. They frame Future as an established veteran, while positioning YoungBoy as the current wave. Challenging a respected figure is one way artists try to prove they belong at the top, but there is another possibility, and it comes down to YoungBoy himself. The quick change from apology to confrontation is something people have followed throughout his career. It is part of the unpredictability that surrounds his public moments. During his conversation with Offset, YoungBoy talked about moving forward and letting things go. He said, "I gotta let that go." Then, only hours later, his actions appeared to move in the opposite direction. That doesn't automatically explain his intentions. YoungBoy has spoken publicly about personal struggles and emotional challenges, and his music often moves between vulnerability and intensity in the same song. Whether the shift came from emotion, strategy, or a mix of both, the outcome was the same. A major Atlanta figure known for avoiding rap conflicts became part of a conversation he never appeared to seek. Now, the biggest question is, how is everyone responding and what happens next? Within hours of What Dia What reaching the internet, social media went into overdrive. X and Instagram filled up with clips, memes, and deep breakdowns of every line and detail. Trending topics started moving fast, and videos pulled in millions of views before many outlets could even release full coverage. The reactions split almost perfectly along the same lines people expected. On one side was YoungBoy's fan base, the loyal 4KT supporters, celebrating the track and calling it another moment of him challenging Atlanta. Some supporters and reactors treated it like a victory lap, praising the confidence and the willingness to stand against one of hip-hop's biggest regions. To them, YoungBoy was the outsider, refusing to back down, reminding a powerful scene that he still has major influence, a huge audience, and a strong connection with listeners. Fans from outside the United States also joined the conversation, showing how far the situation had spread. On the other side were Future supporters and Atlanta loyalists, criticizing the song and calling it unnecessary. Their argument was simple: someone who apologized earlier and then attacks later was not moving like a calculated leader. They saw it as emotion taking control instead of strategy. Neutral observers took a more distant view. They focused on the pattern, an apology followed by another confrontation, and they questioned whether the move was a powerful artistic statement or a decision that could create more problems. The industry's reaction was also interesting because of what wasn't happening. Many rappers stayed quiet publicly, which may have been the safest move, while outlets like Hot New Hip Hop, XXL, and Complex continued tracking every update. Offset's role added another unexpected layer. The person who helped guide the apology watched that moment disappear only hours later. So, where does this go from here? There are several possible paths. Future could respond with a direct song, a subtle message on another release, or the option many people expect from him: complete silence. Considering Future's history of avoiding rap conflicts, silence may be the most likely choice. Against an artist who thrives on reactions and attention, refusing to engage could be the strongest response. Atlanta could also respond through its artists. Someone like Lil Baby or another major figure could address it, especially since the message was aimed at the city as a whole. Regional pride has created major conflicts before, but knowing YoungBoy's history, another possibility remains: another conversation, another explanation, and another change in direction. The cycle could continue, and underneath all the tension is one reality: beef creates attention, increases streams, sells merchandise, and moves tickets. Expect YoungBoy's numbers to climb and Future's album rollout to gain even more attention than expected. In 2026's streaming world, YoungBoy's non-stop release style and high-energy moments are built for online conversation, creating pressure for artists who move with a more selective approach, like Future. It's the independent grind versus the major label system. There is also a David versus Goliath feeling around this matchup, except this time David didn't just challenge one person, he threw a shot toward an entire kingdom, but the risks are just as serious as the rewards. With personal history and real-world tensions involved, every major hip-hop conflict carries the possibility of going beyond music. The hope is that this stays where it belongs, on songs, videos, and conversations, where fans can debate the lyrics without anyone getting hurt. Zoom out from this one intense moment, and it becomes a picture of hip-hop in 2026. Generational battles, regional pride, and social media turning every move into worldwide entertainment. Whether Future responds, Atlanta answers back, or YoungBoy changes direction again, one thing is clear: the challenge was made, and the entire culture is watching to see what happens next. Now it's your turn. Was this a real declaration of war, or was this a moment that went too far? Should Future respond with music, or should silence be the move? And does Atlanta need to answer the message behind Ho Atlanta? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications because this story could take another turn at any moment. Thanks for watching, and check out the other videos on screen for more.